Hi, Victoria. Good
Um,
morning to you.
Good morning, Nicolette. How are you
Hi,
doing?
I am doing great. I cannot wait to have our conversation today. How are you? First up.
I'm fantastic. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here and look forward to our conversation too.
Well, thank you so much for saying yes to be interviewed. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. My podcast talks a lot about self-worth and also a lot about spirituality. At the same time, what's happening in the world industry-wise, because I'm a ex-corporate girl now transitioning into my own practice in therapy and coaching. So I think having you on would be beneficial and insightful for me, not just for me and for my listeners as well. So thank you so much for today.
Thank you, Nicolette. Thanks.
Okay, Victoria, I would like to read a bit of an introduction for the benefit of
Sure.
our listeners, and then we can get right into our conversation. So, hey everyone, we have Dr. Victoria Mensch,
Mensch. Yeah,
Mensch
Mensch. You
here
got
with
it.
us. Yay! With over 25 years at the intersection of academia and executive leadership, she has dedicated her career to mastering the art of work-life harmony, a theme that resonates deeply in today's high-pressure environments. Holding an MBA from UC Berkeley and a Ph.D. in psychology, she has navigated the dynamic realms of technology and innovation. As an executive in large tech companies, as well as tech startups, she has led teams through the whirlwind of disruptive technologies, always with a focus on sustaining balance and ensuring wellness. Now imagine transforming the inevitable stress of your daily challenges into your greatest successes. How, you ask? Through what she likes to call productive happiness. It's about converting stress to success, which not only enhances productivity, but also cultivates a life filled with genuine happiness. Wow, 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 wow. That's tick, tick, tick to everything that I'm wishing to achieve, if not already I have at this point. Welcome, Victoria. Wow, thank you so much. So much to unpack.
Thank you. Thanks. Yes,
Okay.
and obviously, yes, I'm very happy that you find resonance in what I'm saying because I think that we're definitely not alone in this, right? And a
Yes,
lot of
yes.
people are in the same boat, right? To kind of get into the grind of things from day to day. And so where is happiness in that? Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're coming from.
It's like, okay, because you come from the corporate background as well, same as me. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we always have to choose one side or the other. It's either you're productive at the expense of your own sanity and happiness, or you just let go of everything and then only focus on that. You can't. Life is about balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I found you. So before we get into the nitty gritty of things, I'd like to ask you, like, what was it like growing up as Victoria Men?
Well, you know what I found throughout the years. So no matter what your childhood is, you remember it as happy times. Whatever, I spoke to so many people from so many different walks of life, and even if it's like very I don't want to say it. So sometimes these stories are quite difficult to listen, and yet when people remember them, they still remember their childhood as happy childhood.
Yeah.
So that's how I remember my upbringing as well. So no matter what was going on in the world, I did have a healthy family, which helps, but I still remember your childhood at happy times. So I grew up as a happy person. And at the same time, my personal upbringing was within a family of ambitious people. So they always wanted to have more, achieve more, give more to their kids and so on and so forth. So, I do come from that background of, high achieving. So that's what was ingrained in me that you achieve, right? So you set a goal and you go toward that goal. You set the next goal, you go to that goal. And then, yeah, and that's a myth in our society as well. Now I know that once you get to that achievement, then you'll be happy. And
Mm.
so, as a lot of people that are around me, my colleagues, the whole community that I kind of grew up with and, I worked in, I think we're all kind of sharing the same underlying assumption that these achievements we do go through that. We achieve those goals and we set those goals, and once we get there, we'll be happy and we'll allow ourselves to be happy. So that's my story as well, and it's unique to me, but it's actually quite widespread. So by now, I met quite a few people. It's almost a standard story that share the same kind of assumption that achievement will bring me happiness. Just going, back to the topic that we chatted about a little bit in the beginning, is that is actually the greatest myth. That achievement brings happiness. There's so much research now that tells you, actually, we now have scientific proof. So colleges, they did their research and they found out that um, that most times the relationship between success and happiness is actually reversed. Happy people become more successful, which is very interesting to know.
Right.
Right.
I
And the
love it.
other one, another one, which I think is also very interesting to kind of sit on this idea and try to um, internalize the idea, is that happiness is actually not a moment in time. Yes, you obviously achievement is important. You set those goals, you really want them, these desires, right? You achieve those desires, and then what you find out that you are happy for a minute, and then everything goes back to kind of satisfaction, so on and so forth. Happiness is actually a process. So it's not an end goal. It's not an end result. It's not something that you achieve and then you're happy forever and ever. It is a process. So it is a state of mind. It is a process. And I think that what kind of makes happy people, more successful, because they are in that process. They master that process whether conscious or unconscious. Some of us are lucky just to have it given to us. And a lot of us can practice it. So happiness is a practice that you can set up and build your life around it.
Mm. So, okay, now, yeah, I mean, you touched some of the main points that we're going to discuss today, and I myself am very curious. So, you said, or the notion before was you achieve something, then you feel happy. And I think at some point in your life, you m- may have felt that too, or you fell into the same notion as what the society is telling us. So, what was it like for you realizing that achieving something is only going to make you happy? Or, and then what is the pivotal point that you said, okay, this is not it?
Well, a lot of times when I talk about kind of my path to what I do now, I talk about burnout. So my path was through burnout, and maybe I didn't know how to call it at the time. Now I do, and a lot more people now are well aware of this symptom or whatever condition called burnout, and you hear it kind of people casually share with each other, I'm in burnout, or I burned out through this, I burned out through that. So to me, it was important to realize what burnout was. And, looking back, I think that I went, in stages through all the pivots in my career. I went kind of burnout was one of those, that one of those stages that, um, mm, that pushed me, I'd say, to transform my views and pivot my careers. And a lot of times when I talk about kind of this path to happiness, is burnout could be that path, right? When you realize all of a sudden that uh, what are the symptoms of burnout? You're exhausted, right? So the underlying red thread is exhaustion. And it's
Hmm.
not an exhaustion that I'm tired at the end of the day. No, that's exhaustion that really can be helpful. So no
Yeah.
matter how much you sleep, right? No matter how many breaks you give yourself, you kind of you still feel tired. Some people feel lack of motivation. I don't know what I'm doing this for. Right? Like this job maybe is not leading me to where I want to go, but I don't know where I want to go. And there are some physiological kind of changes in behavior that will happen as well, which comes with the physiological mechanisms of a burnout, which is a chronic stress, right? So it's not just stress reaction that happened today. This is something that accumulates over time. So and that all together kind of brings you into that state of dissatisfaction, sometimes lack of motivation, sometimes exhaustion, sometimes there's some like behavioral changes like indigestion, for example, right? So like you have lack of appetite, or you're craving things all the time. So things like that, depending on how a person responds to stress. But what it does, a lot of times we say that burnout is kind of like a canary in the mine. It is a sign. It is a sign. So that's the benefit of that, right? So and that's where the power lies as well. It is a sign. So once you recognize that you're in a state that you don't want to be, right? It kind of pushes you, it encourages you and nudges you into making changes, which is, there's always a silver lining somewhere. That's the silver lining of burnout.
Right.
Did I answer your question, Nicolette?
Yes, but I would like to dive deeper. Me in this podcast, I like to go deep. So, I mean, earlier before we start our conversation, prior to the interview, we were talking about you grew up in different cities, and now
Mm-hmm.
you're based in Silicon Valley. But now,
Mm-hmm.
just recently, you're spending most of your time in Bali. So, tell us what is that? What's the
Well,
journey?
yeah. So I was born in Russia. I was born in Russia and I grew up in Kazakhstan. My family moved from Russia to Kazakhstan, but at that time it was all one country, Soviet Union. So I'm going to date myself. I was born and raised in Soviet Union. And then I found, kind of early in life, I found that my country just disappeared. And it was interesting, just going back. One of the things that I find interesting now, that you live your life every day, right? You don't actually think that there's this something dramatic going on around you. You just
Yeah.
continue making your decisions. You continue going through life. And then in the hindsight, you look back like, wow. So one of the things usually one of the stories that I tell people, which hit me much later in life, is that when I went to study in college, when I started college, and when I ended college, those were two different two different places. And it was the same geographically, right? If you look at the latitude and longitude, it was the same place. It was a different. The college had a different name. The department I studied in had a different name. The city that I lived in had a different name. The country disappeared, so it was a different country. The currency was different. Everything else actually changed. And yet, I didn't move. I was just there. So just to show, kind of demonstrate the drama that was going around it, which, sometimes you just follow with this drama. There's a lot of things outside of our control. Me being where I was, like a freshman in college, or a senior in college, I had no control over what was going on, right? So I did not change the currency. I did not, dissolve the currency. I did not change the, but you are within, right? So the external circumstances change, and a lot of those you really don't have any control over. What you
Mhm.
do have control over is though, how you react to that. So I think that's again the beauty of work, of a personal transformation and personal growth, and getting out of burnout, getting yourself into burnout and out of burnout, and whatever other challenges that come your way. That's kind of the power of it, is that, find what is within your control and change that. And you will actually see that the external kind of environment around you changes somewhat with that as well. So that's how it happened for me. So I chose to leave Kazakhstan at that time, go back to Russia and continue my education and get my PhD in psychology. And then again, under different circumstances, I had an opportunity and I took that opportunity to move to the US and restart my career in Silicon Valley. So, and at that time, I already burned out in my psychology work. So like, oh wow, this all just comes together. I'll start from scratch. So
Wow.
that's how it happened. And there's also a lot of research about kind of immigrants and how they find um, which of them are successful, which of them are not successful in new places. And you would find kind of the, again, red thread there, the internal controls that they put in place, the power that they put inside them to make things happen. Um, to not kind of subside to external circumstances and all the worries about external circumstances to move forward. So there's a lot of kind of things there, a lot of balls in the air, lots of things, lots of learning throughout my personal life for sure, and throughout the lives of people around me. And through my kind of academic educational background, that really kind of show the path forward that I think empowers people on a personal level to create the circumstances for themselves, not just
Mm.
um, uh, kind of
Succumb to what's
feel
happening,
exactly,
yeah, to you. Mm.
not like feel that
The world is out to get you.
exactly, without a control. Exactly. The world is there to get you, that you feel out of control. By the way, in my work, the burnout, a lot of times it's really associated with that. Like, I don't control my life anymore, especially on the high achieving level. Like, I don't control my schedule anymore. I don't control my wishes anymore, my desires anymore. With everybody else, there's so much pressures on me, from different stakeholders, from my family, whatever, that I'm not in control anymore. So that's the way to bring back control, right? To understand that you are in control, just to find those places where you're in control and you grow from there. And a lot of times, speaking of productive happiness, yeah, I really love how you mentioned it in the beginning. A lot of times, instead of just quitting, it's like, I am fed up, right? So
Yeah.
I cannot take one more day of that. Instead of kind of getting to this despair and just up, up, upping all your life one way or another, you could actually find a productive way forward. What are the pieces that I want to keep? What are the pieces that I want to get rid of? But true
Mm-hmm.
pieces, not just, oh, I cannot, take one more day on that job. What is it that's truly for you? What's not for you? And you do this in a more constructive way so that you can chart the course, more efficiently and effectively and productively.
I love that. I love that. And I think, um, okay, there are a few things that you mentioned in your profile, and I want to go through it. How do you, or maybe the people that you work with, or from your studies, because you're coming from the academic background, how should somebody transform stress into success and enjoy a life of success and happiness? I know it's pretty vague, but maybe we could narrow it down to one case study that you have seen
Mm.
yourself.
So what I usually talk about is like happiness is a practice. I think that's
It's a
again that's being
lifestyle. It
fun.
is you. I
Well,
like that.
it
Yeah.
it it's a practice, right? So you actually have to make a decision to be happy.
Mm,
There's nothing else that's involved, in
choice.
that particular sense.
Yeah.
Well, and it may sound idealistic, for some people, like, oh, I just need to make a decision to be rich. It's not that, right? But you can make a decision to be happy. You can make a decision to live a life you love, and that's truly within your control. So now, how you do that, and there's lots of words, and there are different approaches how you kind of bring yourself to that. Like, you listen to Tony Robbins, that's one way to do it. You listen to other, other people, gurus and coaches, life coaches. There are different approaches that actually, at the end of the day, they try to get you there, that way. So for me, what was really insightful, was really helpful, is to actually build in practices, very down to earth and grounded practices, that would help me to train my mind, myself, my state to be in the state that I want. And I talk a lot about, like, one of those is self-care. And there's so many people who talk about self-care, but what does it really mean? And how do you actually do that? It's one thing to say it, and another thing to actually practice it. And a lot of times, the things that you need to do, they're simple. They're just not easy. So for The second one that a lot of people are talking about as well, it is a game changer. It's a practice of gratitude. And again, you can do gratitude journals, you can do gratitude jars. That could be it. But you actually, on the behavior level, you actually need to train yourself to do that. You actually have to kind of recognize actively, proactively looking for opportunities to express gratitude. What is that? So when you practice gratitude, you actually train your brain to notice things you like, not things you don't like. So one of the really prevailing stages in the corporate environment, and it's truly unfortunate. When you go to a water cooler, for example, a lot of conversations will quickly turn into complaining, because that's where we are, right? So we are in that negative and kind of low energy state of mind. There's lots of external, again, there's external environment, whether it's news, whether it's, situation at home, whatever, the bad traffic that you are sitting in, you're already kind of tired, right? And then you get into that cycle, started complaining. This person did not do that. That person did not do that. My boss is an idiot. His boss is an idiot. People who work for me are idiots. I mean, the, I'm not, opening anything new, right? So that's what it is. And I certainly was in that mode for a long time. But you personally can turn the conversation instead of looking for things to complain about, or the things that you don't like. You train yourself, you train your brain to notice things that you do like, and then express gratitude for that. So let's say there is a college uh, that did not send you something, or regularly missing deadlines. Obviously, in the professional environment, some of this your college, and you're on the same level, you don't really have a lot of leverages over that person. It's really more of a hierarchical um, game, right? So if that person misses deadlines, and his manager or her manager, they have kind of the power and control externally built into that. But you as a college, you don't have a lot of that external power and control. So you really have just you can talk to that person, right? So you can explain what it does, what it means. But from the emotional state of mind, sometimes these deadlines are important. Sometimes they're not important. So you're just kind of irritated and frustrated because of that. The way to use it as an example to practice gratitude is like, this person misses deadline. Out of 3 deadlines, he or she misses 1, right? And you focus on that one. Out of these 3 things, he or she missed that one. So how could she? How can she? How could he? And he's always meeting deadlines, when in fact it's actually 1 out of 3. So you could focus on the other 2 and say, oh, wow, finally this person actually met the deadline and maybe was ahead of the deadline. And you go and you express gratitude to that person for that. Not complaining that he or she missed the first one, but gratitude and your appreciation for that person to meet the next one. So these are the things I'm talking about. Just on your what it first of all, it actually it gives you an opportunity to show appreciation, and it gives you an opportunity to train. So what is it that I can thank that person for? And it's real. You don't need to make it up. You find something real. It could be something small, brought you coffee or something, or it could be something big, right? So, but you do train yourself to notice those things. And of course, if it's an important deadline, there are other levels of control that are already built into the environment. But on your personal level, for your personal sake, when you train yourself to notice things that people do actually do and do well, however small those things are, you encourage that person to do more of that, right? Because you share that gratitude, you uplift that person, you encourage that person to do more of that. And you are in the state of kind of elevated state of mind as well. because you put yourself into that gratitude and you share that with that person and you receive the feedback that way. These things, they actually make miracles. This is nothing short of a miracle when you put yourself in a state of gratitude, when you're constantly looking for ways, for things, for actions, for people, however small, however big they are, to express the gratitude. You put yourself in that state of gratitude. Miracles happen. You yourself are elevated, but the people and the environment around you is elevated as well. To make a long story short, it'll take you probably a week, no more than 2 weeks, when everyone around you will start be grateful. You'll receive so many thanks for so many things from your colleagues, from your relationships, from your kids, from your spouse, from everyone. You will be overwhelmed with that. So you will receive the environment will mirror you. To this state, like, wow, this is a miracle. Like, I am in this constant state of gratitude. Everything around me is working as a charm. So this is the way, yes, I can sit there and I can, kind of think, wow, I wish that
Mm,
we were less profit driven, right? So I
mm,
wish we would have, 4 hours work day. I wish for that. Yes. What can I do about this right now? Right now, I can actually put myself in the state where I'm in gratitude. People around me are in gratitude. We actually appreciate being around each other. And then you'll see how the environment starts changing. The next step you start with, well, I really wish for our work week. How can I make that happen? But you can make that happen, from the elevated state of that gratitude, and emotional harmony. And you can start making real changes around yourself. I'm
mm.
talking a lot, right?
I love it. I mean, you hit all the points. Like I had a guest also just a few days ago. It's basically everything is already abundant within you, and how
Mm-hmm.
you want your circumstances surrounding you to change is by changing the state of yourself within. And of course, we're talking about energy, we're talking about frequency and vibration, but surely if somebody understands that, they don't even have to make the biggest change, like a drastic change to like, okay,
Yeah.
cut these people off or whatnot, but then just
Mm-hmm.
be grateful. Or also, if you don't, so, okay, again, might be difficult to implement immediately, but if that environment of yours is really draining you out, and that is the one thing that's stopping you from seeing what you're supposed to be grateful for around you, then probably you need to start asking for, can I change department, or should
Mm-hmm.
I look out, should I
Yeah.
relocate, you know and
Yeah.
find ways, and not to say that I'm so hopeless and I can never get out of this. But of course,
Mm-hmm.
there are people who will think that way, and that's where they come in and they speak it out
Mm-hmm.
to the people around
Mm-hmm.
them, or the higher ups.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I also talk about a lot is we have this another myth is that if you follow your passion, everything will just miraculously get into place, right? So we have that. I've seen so many people who are passionate about jobs that they do. So normally when you start a new job, right? So you are passionate about this. You like it. You're excited. And some people, they do follow their passion. If you look at the burnout, the whole kind of research around burnout originated from the medical profession. People who really made a choice to serve, to help, all right, to save people, and they turned out they actually burned out the quickest. Everybody in
Yeah.
the service profession, right? They burn out quickly, which tells me that even if you follow your passion, but you don't have the tools and the practices to keep
Yeah.
you in a state of harmony,
Mm.
in a state, I don't like the word balance that much, but harmony, in a state of harmony when you do have those practices and tools, internal tools to process information, to stay in your core, right? To stay in the sovereignty. Then, even if you follow your passion, you can find yourself in the same kind of, unhappy state. Let's put it this way. Most of the times, especially in the corporate world, we tend to blame the job, right? So the job is not right for me. I don't like to start at 9 o'clock or I don't like to get up at 6 o'clock or something. I don't like people around me, or I don't like the culture in the company. We tend to put that blame outside. So in the work that we do, before we put that blame outside, let's look at what you can change, and then you can make a decision whether it was really the job that did not fit, or outgrew your passion for that job, or there are all these other places, maybe the power that you gave away unknowingly, like for your schedule, for your boundaries, for lack of gratitude, and so on and so forth. Let's return that power back to you first and see what you can do with that before you make any kind of drastic changes and turning your entire life upside down, or quitting your job, making that impact on your career. That will be kind of hard to recover. For some people, it is kind of, I don't want to do this job anymore. I have a different passion and I'm going to pursue that passion. For some people, that's the answer. For a lot of people, the answer is, how do I return that power to myself? How do I prioritize me? And that's, will come probably some work around self-worth and self-love, and self-care, right? When you kind of, you realize, you didn't just read it somewhere that you're worthy, but you actually know it, and you act it as you are worthy. So that will most likely actually change your external circumstances without really changing that much externally. I don't know how to explain it a little bit better, but we can get there. But what I like,
I got it.
But what I like about the practices that I'm talking about is like there is a difference between you knowing intellectually what needs to be done and how, like, we all know at this point, not all, most of us know at this point that gratitude is great, right? So when you practice gratitude, you're in a state of gratitude, then it'll help. It's one thing to know it intellectually. It's a different thing to practice it, to live through it, and to get your insights that way, and to actually be it, to actually put yourself in a state of gratitude. And for that, you need to practice.
Well, thank you for that, Victoria. I love it. Now, okay, we're gonna go to the mastered stress management. Learn first aid techniques to immediately reduce stress. What are these?
Yeah. This is something that I think all have to master. We live in such a world where we tend to accumulate stress, and it's not going to get better, right? So we're going to have more media, we're going to have more social media, we're going to have more pollution, we're going to have more conflicts, whatever. This thing and our rate of change is accelerating all the time. So the world is such a place, right? That the stress, if you're just not doing anything, the stress is going to overwhelm you. So everybody to master stress management technique. First, let me maybe talk a little bit about on physiological level what we're trying to do. It helps me because I'm such a kind of left-brain person. It helps me to understand first, and then to look at the practices, because then kind of intellectually, rationally, you understand what's going on. So what is stress? Stress reaction is actually fantastic. It's very useful. It's there for a reason. It helps our survival.
To survive in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. It helped us to survive, right? So there is no question about this. And like every time you feel stressed, it's like, thank you, universe. Because I am alive, it means I'm alive. Yeah. And that's what your reptilian, your older brain, that's exactly what it thinks, right? So, keep her, I keep them safe, right? So I do my job. And that's the stress reaction. What is it? If there is a threat to your survival in the environment, let's say there's like a cobra somewhere in the bushes, then your reptilian brain, your old and very wise nervous system says, okay, now we have to mobilize. It's a decision making point. Do we fight or do we yeah,
Joy.
or yeah, do we fight or do we fly away, right? So at this moment, everything else shuts down. It's just this. So your muscular system is there. Your cortisol is like on overdrive. Your adrenaline is on overdrive. Everything just gets ready for that decision to either get into the fight or get away out of danger. So this is it, right? So this is a fantastic reaction. Like it kept so many people say, that's why there are how many, like 7 billion of us now on the planet.
That's right.
What happens, in our infinite wisdom, we keep eliminating those survival threats out of our environment. But we still have this mechanism. So our reptilian brain keeps assigning danger to less and less dangerous things to the point where
Oh,
to the
yeah.
point where you could, like, you're in Kuala Lumpur, right? Let's say I'm in San Francisco and we hear on the media about wildfires in Australia.
Yeah.
And we think that it's a threat to us, right? So we get into the survival mode about things that are really not really posing any danger to us immediately. And there are so many. It could be the kids are not getting ready to school in the morning, so I'm going to be late at this important meeting. Or maybe there are layoffs in the company and I could be subject of those layoffs. And the economy is not so great. The political system is not so great. It could be small things, it could be big things, but they're not really. You go back to basics. They do not impose immediate danger to you, yet our system is on overdrive, in that survival mode, which is unbelievable. We get into that stress cycle, but we never actually make a decision to fight. We
So
just
we
keep our,
put
yeah, we just keep
ourselves
our
in
nervous
it. Yeah.
system. Yeah,
Mm.
we just keep our nervous system in that mobilized mode forever and ever and never complete that cycle. So it becomes a chronic stress. So what are the stress management techniques? In that stress reaction, how do we complete that cycle? We actually take action, right? So we made a decision to fly or to fight, and we take that action. We either attack or we run away. So that's important to understand, right? What is a chronic stress? It's a stress reaction that starts but never completes, starts but never completes, starts but never completes. And that's where stress management techniques act. Like you have to complete that stress cycle. So that's the first aid actually to that stress reaction without going into a lot of thinking about the meaning of life, you know, about your internal controls and things like that. You actually have a very basic tools to switch
Oh.
from your fight or flight response to a
Just
rest and
take an
digest
action. Just
response.
basically, if you're
Yes,
faced with that, just take an
yeah,
action. Do not say. Don't
yeah.
put
So
yourself in
what is
that
that? Yeah,
duress
exactly. So what is
condition.
that
Yeah.
action? It's
Mm-hmm.
not a dramatic action. It's just action. You have to get that, that release through action. What is that action? Breathing.
Mm.
Breathing is that action. Breath is the bridge between your mind and your body. Through breath, you actually send your body without, thinking too much, rationalizing too much. You're sending the signal to your body that the danger has passed. You can relax. I'm alive. All is well. We can be in the rest and digest mode. So many different techniques. There is actually tons of breath work practices out there. Some of them are really elaborate. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about very simple one. You get the news, you find yourself overwhelmed, kind of the anxiety picks up, like, there's wildfire, koalas are dying. And at that moment, that's the moment you have to register and say, I'm going to breathe, right? I'm going to breathe. There's some very simple techniques, like you breathe on 2 and then you exhale. Like, you do this 3 times. You're going to get out of that mode. It's going to release it like that. Another technique that I also like a lot is a box breathing because it's so simple. So you inhale on like 4 or 6. I inhale on 6. You inhale on 6. You hold your breath for 6. You exhale on 6. and you hold your breath for 6. What it does, it normalizes your breath. First of all, it deprives your system of oxygen, and then it actually floods your system with oxygen, which sends the signal to your survival brain. You're very old, very wise. Don't make it your enemy, right? So it's wise and old, and it keeps you safe. It's just sometimes it's overzealous around that. And so you send that signal that I am safe, I am okay. It's okay for my digestive system to work again. It's okay for all
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
hormones to work again, and so on and so forth. So that's the breathing technique. The second one, going back to the completion of the stress cycle, is literal action, some muscular response, right? It could be a brisk walk. Go and it does not have to be, a marathon or an hour in the gym every day or anything. That's not what I'm talking about. Though, if you could do daily exercises, of course, is going to help. Talking about stress management technique, when you find yourself stressed, overwhelmed, not happy, unsatisfied, do that. And it could be you clench your muscles and you hold it for 10 seconds and you release. And that sends a signal to your unconscious or otherwise subconscious brain that the danger has passed. We took an action. Then now we can turn on all other systems and switch to rest and digest mode. And the third one that a lot of people are talking about nowadays is meditation. So that does require a little bit more practice, but it could be as easy as breathing, right? So you sit down, you ground yourself, you put your feet on the floor, and you just follow your breathing for 5 minutes. Just inhale, exhale. Or there are tons of guided meditations. I love guided meditations. You go on YouTube and you find them, or even probably on Apple Music or Spotify, you find the one that you like, and you put it on for 5-7 minutes. It resets your system, and it sends the signal to your, again, to your reptilian brain that you did your job. Great. Now you can relax.
Yes.
Let me do
I'm
mine.
safe.
Let me do
Yeah.
mine now. Yeah. So that's first aid, right? So without kind of deep personal work, healing or setting boundaries and personal transformation, everybody is capable of
It's
mastering
available.
those. And you'll see,
Mhm.
a difference. Again, you see a difference right away. It helps you every day. If you make it kind of a regular daily ritual to do breathing exercise in the morning, fine. If you're not ready for that yet, just to register your overwhelm, your stress in the moment, and do those exercises in the moment. That's going to make a huge difference in
Mhm.
the quality of your life.
Yeah. Thank you. I love it. It sounds so simple. We often hear people say this, but until you
Yeah.
try it yourself, then
Mm-hmm.
only you'll understand and realize you're gonna reap the benefits. Like used to think of it as a woo woo thing, but right now
Yeah.
I cannot go on my day without ending my day with some kind of gratitude, work, or breathing, or just sit in silence, do
Sitting in
nothing.
silence.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Sitting in silence. That's an amazing part as well. So I sat in silence for a long time. It's amazing
Hmm.
how many people cannot do that, especially in developed countries. They actually have anxiety rising if they are silent for more than 2 minutes. If you are one of those persons, like you're listening, you're one of those persons, I'm going to tell you that it's a growth opportunity. There is definitely resource behind it. So if you practice that, then you silent for 2 minutes and for 4 minutes, it's actually a signal for you to go deeper in this practice. It's fantastic that you understand that, you register that. It's kind of that canary in the mind that I need to do more of that.
Yes.
Yeah, but it
Mm.
should be normal for a person, for any person. It should be normal to spend uh, a prolonged, period of time on their own with their own thoughts. Not talking about necessarily weeks and weeks or like hours. 5 minutes should be doable and normal for everyone, even if you're like super hyper extrovert that needs to run and do things all the time. And for you, 5 minutes is a challenge, but it's,
Mhm.
that's a growth opportunity. There is a resource there that you can tap into, and you can only open that resource if you actually practice that for at least 5 minutes.
Exactly. And I've seen a lot of retreats, silent retreats are coming up. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've never gone to one, but I would love to.
Okay.
They have it. They
Well,
have
I
it.
did. Yeah.
Oh, you
So
did?
Yeah. So I did Vipassana
Vipassana.
twice.
Yes, Vipassana.
Yeah. So I did Vipassana twice. So what do I want to say about this? Yeah. So it's an intense practice. If you have an opportunity and you feel like somebody talked about this and it feels like, oh, I want to try that. And if you do have an opportunity, it's a priceless experience. If I summarize for me what it did for me, so I kind of realized the value of meditation. The value of meditation is to have space between stimulus and reaction,
Yes, that's true.
right?
Yes.
So this is the muscle that you um exercise, basically. You train the muscle that is totally in our kind of normal everyday life, the muscle we forgot existed or never knew existed. There's this gap between what's coming at you and how you respond to that. And that's what you train. And within that gap, that kind of the truth that's coming out, that's true you that's coming out, right? So that's your true power, the power to react to that stimulus from the outside world. So that's when you are in control, right? And it's an immense and very powerful feeling that I can create my own experience right now. So it's totally okay to be angry. It's totally okay to be frustrated. It's totally okay to be sad. It's totally okay to suffer. But it is my choice, right? And not the gap. Meditation helps you to realize where that gap is and take that breath in. When the stimulus from the external world comes in, take that gap, and then within that gap, make that decision how you want to react instead of reacting kind of, I want to say mindlessly or more instinctively, or kind of unconsciously. Yes, unconsciously would be a better word for that. So let's say you push a vase. Let's make it a very ancient, very expensive vase. You put it on the table and it
Mhm.
broke, right? So there's a first reaction to that. So you're angry at yourself. You're angry if somebody else is pushing it. Oh my God. Right? You're angry at that person. Everything just drops in that second. And your unconscious reaction would be to express on that immediately, just to push it into the world. The conscious reaction would be to pause, and decide
Mhm.
what is it that I'm going to do next. And that's very powerful because then you are truly in control. You're truly the creator of your experience.
You're truly the creator of your experience. Now, okay, um, I have a few more questions. And
Sure.
okay, clarified your priorities. Can you speak more about that? Gain crystal clear clarity on what you truly.
Yeah. Priorities are so individual, yet um, we tend to set our priorities based on um, so many things. It could be what our parents told us. It could be what our society taught us. It could be what I read somewhere in some book. It could be envy. It could be whatever it is. So clarifying your priorities is to get to your true self. What is it that you want? What is it that you want to set the priority? Not because um, your parents told you that you need to get the right education, you need to get a good job, you need to buy a good house, and good car, and so on and so forth. Not that. Not what other people, not what the society, what your religion, what your community told you, but what is true to yourself. I think it's especially important for women because we are getting bombarded with so many expectations, totally unrealistic expectations on all fronts. If you take a lot of people that I talk to are women with corporate careers, and children. And kind of we're expected to work as we did not have children, and we're expected to raise children as we did not have a job, which is totally unrealistic. One of the phrases that I really love, I heard somewhere, you can have it all. You can,
Just
just
not
not at
all
the
at
same
once.
time. Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Just not at the same time. So that's the priority, right? So you clarify your priorities, what's important to you now at this particular moment, and you make peace with that. This is my priority. You make peace with that. You make it because you know that it's a true priority. It's not because somebody told you that now you have 2 and 4 year olds and you want to get a CEO job within a year from now, because that's what people do, right? So if you don't get, that CEO job in a year, then you're done. Or so that's not that. And that's it could be, well, my priority is to get that CEO job, which would actually mean that I have 3 nannies taking care of my children. I'm fine with that. It could be that, but you define your priority, you define your why, and the exercise that we usually go through is why. I want this, why, and then so I want I want to be CEO. Why? Because I want to have big salary. Why? Because I want to have a big house. Why? Because I want to have a happy family. Okay, so you go through this exercise, why, until you get to the truth of it. And that's how you set your priorities. And you're so clear on that. Uh, and you build everything else around it. It's like you're so clear that you're fine if you spend just truly quality time with your kids once a day. You spend 5 minutes playing with your kids, and everything else somebody else will take care of, right? Or say, well, I am truly fine to not be CEO within a year. I'm fine to actually spend 3 hours per day with my kids and become a CEO 5 years from now or 10 years from now, or not become a CEO. I'm totally fine with that. So you get to that level of clarity. And from that level of clarity, you put your boundaries around you, right? True boundaries, not coming from expectations of other people, not coming from your myth of how it should be, but your personal true boundaries from your true self, and not kind of bring harmony to your life. That's your road out of burnout. That's your road toward the life you truly love, because you know what it is that you truly love.
Mhm. Yeah, only if you
Does that
slow
make
down.
sense?
Yes, very much so. Only if you slow down and really listen. Because actually everything is already within you. You already know. But it's just all of this tsunami of information, the expectations that the world, society, your family, your friends place upon you that those made you think that okay, it gets buried down your true, what is it that you want? What is it that you desire?
Yeah,
How are you expressing yourself to the world? You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Everything. I agree with you completely. Everything is within you. Now, to get it out of you, it does make sense. So for me, I've had coaches all my life. So quite early, I understood the value for me, the value of mentorship and coaches. The person sitting across from you who can actually mirror what you're saying and push it back to you. So that kind of person who can apply some framework toward your thought process and helps to remove um, unnecessary doubt, right? So someone who helps you to actually externalize what is it that within you. So that I think is important. You absolutely can do it on your own. You can read books. You can, you can talk to other people. You can do it on your own. Absolutely. The mentorship and coaching does provide you a shorter path to that. And for a lot of people, it actually helps to have um, kind of that third party voice around. A lot of us are really built into working in teams and working with other people, so that even on that level it helps. Definitely kind of taking yourself out of your normal environment and putting yourself for a day, 2 or week into a box, kind of a container that's dedicated uh, to to help you slow down and to help you go within and to help you get those insights and then integrate those insights back into your life, in your everyday life. That definitely provides a shortcut as well. So there are these tools and help around that. But for sure, you can do it on your own as well. It might take a little longer, or it might take a lot longer, but it's all, again, it's all within us. Absolutely. I 100% agree with you.
Thank you. So, Victoria, what is next for you?
What is next for me? So
Mm-hmm.
I want to do more of this. I do have uh, so I do have a few businesses, and I work with companies and corporate teams to kind of create that more harmonious environment as well. So that the teams are more motivated, and the people are happier, they stay longer in their job, they want to grow their jobs. So that's fantastic. I love working with individuals. I want to do more of that as well. And I'm also stepping into doing retreats. This is what I was talking about, kind of creating those containers for extended period of time, for a few days, for a week. Since, I'm in Bali, it's kind of natural for me to do it in Bali as well. Bali itself is such a rich place, and the culture of being in harmony with yourself, with your community, with the nature, with the spirit, just the immersion into Bali actually helps give you like 20% edge already on that path. So I'm very excited about that. We're going to do a retreat at the end of October called Elevate Beyond Success. That's for people who kind of find themselves maybe in burnout, or maybe just, when you ask them how you're doing, they're saying like, I don't know. So there's a word for it called, what is it? I forgot. But it's kind of, yeah. So, but if you're like feeling like that, it's like, I don't know. It's like, different day, same, you know,
Same routine.
yeah, same routine, different day, same routine. I don't know what's out there. I'm not excited anymore about
Mm-hmm.
life, right? So for
Mm-hmm.
people who feel like that, especially high achievers, like what's next, right? So what is that next achievement for me? How do I actually make it matter? So it's not, I don't want it just for the paycheck anymore. I want to have something bigger and better, more exciting. I want, world around me to burst into colors. Like I want to be excited when I wake up in the morning. So what is that will make me excited? So that's what who this retreat is for. So if you're listening and it sounds fantastic, reach out. I'm happy to talk about that forever and ever, because like I guarantee it will be miraculous.
I love it. I can already feel it. Yes, please give me the details of it. And also, yeah, before we end, I'll definitely give you a shout out to how people can reach out to you. So,
Okay.
Victoria, what is your heart's greatest wish?
My heart's greatest wish. So here it is. I actually envision the world of harmony. I think that we are totally capable of doing that. It's not a dream. It's a reality, and we're capable of achieving that. So actually setting our goals, not just from a kind of material and external achievement, but toward harmony. And I think that change starts within. And as I was talking about before, but when you change yourself, you actually change the environment around you. If you're in a position of power, corporate authority, for example, then your change that you can institute is even greater. But you don't have to be the CEO of the company or founder, entrepreneur. You're actually within whichever level you are at, whichever level of success, whichever level of achievement, you can make that change. And, through your internal change, you change the environment around you, the relationship with people around you. And that's how we turn things around and live in the world that we love.
I love that. Yeah. So, do you have a mantra that you live by?
Do I have a mantra? Life is easy.
Yes. Life is easy. Life is beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
Is there anything that keeps you up at night, or do you sleep well?
Not really. I think I'm a good sleeper nowadays. I do like to,
Yay!
so obviously, obviously there are ups and downs. Obviously there's some things I like, some things I don't like. But I feel like I have the tools now and the practices to withstand whatever comes my way, and um, really, be kind of a master of my universe. Let's put it this way.
I love that universe. Okay, so if you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
Say it again.
If you could create a quote right now
Mhm.
for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
Oh, that's a tall order.
I get that a lot from people.
Okay. Let's win with harmony. Yes, let's put it this way. Let's win with harmony.
There's no need to fight. There's no need for competition. There's enough cake for everybody to eat. Okay.
Yes.
Relax.
Yeah.
Now, Victoria, how can people reach out to you?
Yes. So I am on LinkedIn, so anybody can find me, Victoria Mensch. And if you want to talk to me, there's a way to contact me there as well. But I invite everyone to the retreat. Look it up. I'm doing it with in collaboration with a company called Atlantis Institute. So it's atlantis.institute/retreat. If you have a chance, I hope we can see each other in person in Bali at the end of October.
Yay! All right. And there you have it, guys. You heard it from the person herself, Dr. Victoria Mensch. Before we close off, Victoria, I'd like to thank you personally for the work that you're doing for the world and for advancing every step of the way despite the challenges, creating trails for those that will come after you. For our listeners, this has been that one podcast with that controversial name, You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, if you find yourself thinking that you are worthless, you're probably not alone. But more importantly, ask yourself a level deeper. If I'm worthless, then why the heck am I here? It is because your soul have chosen to be here energetically all the way from the ethers, and for that reason itself, you are worthy and you are enough. This has been Victoria Mensch, your guest of the day, and Nick Nieras, your host, signing off. Thank you so much, Victoria, for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.